Welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of FTCE Seminar, a Teacher Certification Podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musto. I'm so excited about Season 2 of FTCE Seminar because we are launching not only the Professional Education Exam Prep, but also our Feature Teacher Series. And today's feature teacher is Miss Chelsie Arrants. Chelsie Arrants has taught kindergarten for 3 years at Blue Angels Elementary and will be transitioning to inclusion for grades K through 1 next school year. We'll talk more about that. Chelsie earned her bachelor's degree in elementary education and exceptional student education, along with her reading and ESOL endorsements. Chelsea's originally from Ohio before moving to Florida. And a little personal note about Chelsie, and this is so cool. She is married to her high school sweetheart. I love that. When she's not chilling out with her 2 cats and 2 dogs, she enjoys spending time in nature, crafting all kinds of good stuff, and going on adventures with her friends. You know, Chelsie and I have known each other for a few years, and it's been so awesome to watch her grow as a classroom teacher. I love when she shares her joys, challenges, and totally her laughter with me in and out of the classroom. We've got a lot of important ground to cover today, so let's get started. Hey, Chelsie, first off, welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad to have you here. Let me ask you this. So, a little bit about you. Was there a moment in your life when you were like, oh my gosh, I want to be a teacher?
Well, it was something that was always just kind of in the back of my mind. I grew up loving elementary school. I still talk to a lot of my elementary school teachers. And I really enjoyed school, but leaving high school, I didn't go straight to college. I didn't really think that that was something for me. And I definitely had no clue what I would do if I were to go to college. There were financial barriers and, self-esteem barriers, really. And so I just went on with waitressing. I was doing that in high school and I kept doing that for quite some time. And then I don't know, there was just this point where I was getting burnt out with it. And I said, I don't want to wait tables for the rest of my life. I'd rather do something more meaningful.
I I feel you on that because I waited tables. Um, I was in restaurant management, and my whole family was in restaurant business, and it was an excellent segue to the classroom because the skill set that you learn in the restaurant business is people. You learn how to work with people, read people, talk to people, and so when I went from the restaurant to the classroom, it was really natural progression. When I got into the classroom, it was more structured for me, and I didn't know how much I was wanting that. It was Monday through Friday. I got weekends and holidays off, and that gave me time to spend time with my family, which was so sorely needed as I moved into my 30s.
I totally agree. That was one of the big factors in it for me when I was like, okay, well, so if I don't want to wait tables for the rest of my life, what do I want to do? And, teaching was just always something in the back of my mind. I didn't know that I could really do it, but, I was one of those kids that played teacher. And so, yeah, I started thinking about it. And gosh, 4 years of college did not seem like something I really wanted to do. But I don't know. All the other ideas just didn't stand out as good as teaching because I always loved kids. I babysat a lot when I was younger. And yeah, I loved the whole idea of having a Monday through Friday, holidays off, the summers off because I wanted a family job.
hmm I get that. We talked a little bit about the transition to the classroom. You let me know you were a kindergarten teacher. Tell us about being that kindergarten teacher, and how did you know that you loved elementary age students?
So when I finally did make the decision to become a teacher, middle school terrified me, high school terrified me. I was like, elementary school, I mean, I love the hands-on arts and crafts kinds of stuff you get to do. And, they're still at an age where they love their teacher and they want to make their teacher happy. And you just see so much growth in them. And, yeah, I was terrified of kindergarten though when I got placed there for student teaching. I thought I wanted to do second grade. And so I got placed for kindergarten with my student teaching. I said, oh no, you mean like the kids that know nothing? Like I'm going to have to tie their shoes and, way more than I even realized. Open their food at lunch and but I just love how truly authentic they are to themselves. There's not that peer pressure quite yet to, you know, be who you think you're supposed to be. Like they are just fully themselves.
That is well said and so true. I did go into teaching 5th through 12th at a juvenile detention facility, and behavior is one of the reasons why kids get to juvenile detention. And it was really weird because I formerly was not a confrontational person, but teaching helped me learn a lot about myself. That's what's crazy. So you're teaching people, little people, but you're also learning about yourself. And like every day, you're learning, but you're teaching. It's synchronous. I can see you glowing when you talk about your kindergarten students, and we've talked a lot about your moments in the classroom. But Chelsea, can you share one of your favorite moments where you felt like you made a lasting impact on a child's life?
Oh my goodness. Well, so I had this really, really sweet little boy named Isaac, and he had moved here right before the beginning of the school year and started kindergarten there. But after, the 10-day count, he ended up having to switch from his classroom over to mine. So I didn't have him at first, but once I got him, he seemed to settle in and really enjoy our classroom. He had struggled with the move previously, and his mom ended up being a wonderful volunteer in my classroom. I just really loved their whole family. He had two siblings that came to the school as well. And in February, because their family's in the military, they had to move again. And, he was devastated about that. I mean, I can't imagine having to just make all these friends and finally feel at ease, and then he's whisked away again. And so we kept in contact after he moved. And I did find out that mom did not put him back in public school. So she homeschooled him the rest of the year. And so, like, about the last week of school, I surprised my kids and him by having a Zoom call with mom and him. And oh my gosh, the class was just so excited to see him. I even had like a Freudian slip. I was like, hey, Isaac, close the back door. And they're like, Isaac? I'm like, oops. And anyways, so he pops up on the screen and they're all just like, "Oh my gosh." And they're all running up to the screen to talk to him, and then they all start drawing him pictures and things, and I'm just like, "Oh my gosh, y'all." So I put a basket in the back and was like, "Here, just put all the pictures that you want to draw him, put them in the back cuz I'm going to send him something." So, we do an end of the year program every year, and all the kids draw a little illustration of themselves, and it gets put on a t-shirt, and it is like the ugliest, cutest thing you've ever seen. And so somehow the company accidentally sent me an extra t-shirt. And so I mean, the first thought I had was, I need to send this to Isaac. I mean, I know he's not on it, but all of his friends are. And oh my gosh, I'm getting goosebumps. So yeah, so I put all those pictures together and that t-shirt and sent it to him. And mom already knew and she was super excited about it. But she sent me this picture of him when that t-shirt came in. He's wearing it, swimming in it, because they're always like so big for him. And like he was just glowing and beaming with pride and like, ugh, it made me and still does, just makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I made him feel like he matters. And I mean, that's even what mom said. She was like, you made him feel so special. I was like, well, he is so special. He's very special to me. You both are. So, yeah, I hope that he remembers that for a long time.
Chelsea, I'm going to remember that for a long time. I mean, and that's that hidden curriculum that we can't teach in the textbook. So we send our teachers out, and we're like content knowledge, professional education standards, and these are the framework. This is important, of
Mhm.
course, but there's that glow that you bring to the classroom where each individual does feel special.
Mm.
You call their name, sending that attention specifically to them. And we work a lot about on positive attention in the classroom. Attention is currency. We give positive attention, we pay out in attention, and that attention is love, patience, understanding, and in that, that's how we show we care. So it's beyond words. It's absolutely in our daily actions. And Isaac will remember that forever.
Hmm.
Just like I remember Miss Blessing in second grade. She went on a safari in Africa and she sent her whole second grade class postcards.
Oh.
And she made a huge impact on my life. And that was in second grade. And that's the thing. It's like teachers are the original influencers. I always say this way before social media. Teachers are the ones who had hundreds of young people, their attention and their influence. They guide all the young people through their development. Was there one person in your life, Chelsea, who was like a mentor who helped you grow into the fabulous teacher you are today?
Definitely. I mean, there's way more than one. Like I said, I still talk to a bunch of my teachers, several of them. But like current day, I call her my work mama. I've got Mama Donna at work, and she's who I did my student teaching with. And I mean, she has really just helped me become the teacher that I am. Most everything that I've learned, I have learned from her. And I mean, she just took me under her wing. When you get placed with different teachers for your student teaching or your other various hours that you have to do for school, sometimes it's a good fit and sometimes it's not so great. But with her, I mean, I just felt like we clicked. We became really close, really fast, and she fully trusted me with her classroom when I was in there. And I felt like, she gave me the grace to make mistakes and learn from them. And yeah, I mean, she's right down the hallway from me. She reminds me when it's time to make copies for this upcoming holiday or whatever. And she's just really showed me how to bring love into the classroom and how to, I mean, gosh, just do all the things you've got to do. You've got however many little kids, 18, whatever your workload is that year, little souls that you have to accommodate, not only with the curriculum, but that is a huge part of it. And that's one of the biggest challenges that she's taught me how to do is, figure out what kid needs what and when. And just that managing of, you're one person, but you're trying to meet the needs and demands of all these different little people at the same time.
That is so wisely stated. I like your mentor. I think she's influencing me right now. Chelsea, what's next? I mean, a lot of times teachers like they love a specific subject. Like me, it was like English, reading, journalism. We talked a little bit before the show. What's next for Mrs. Chelsie Arrants and in the classroom next year?
Well, so I'm going to be transitioning to inclusion for K through first, maybe K through second even. As enrollment changes, things change, but I was way more than happy to just stay in the kindergarten classroom. I was very comfortable there, but this new opportunity presented itself, and I'm looking at it as a big learning opportunity. I'm going to have to take on writing IEPs, and I'm a little sad that I will not have a little whole class family all day, but that's also a positive. I do get to move around and change. So yeah, I'll be more focused on bringing accommodations to those kids with IEPs. I'll get to work in a small group setting for the majority of my day. And I mean, yeah, it's just going to be a lot different than what I'm used to, but I've got a lot to learn and gain from it. So, I may not like it or I may fall in love with it.
I'm listening to you right now and I'm seeing, a few things. One, there's courage in change. So I'm seeing you have not only developing the people around you, but personal and professional development in your side. So you're like, you know what? I will learn more. I will try some change. And ultimately, that goes in your teaching toolbox, and it makes you a multifaceted teacher. And then the other thing that I'm learning from you while I'm listening is there seems to be two avenues of love here. So there's like a love for the task, which is the teaching, and then there's a love for the people that you work with. And to me, that's the ultimate workplace. If you can love the task and love who you're working with just like our students, then I mean, who wouldn't want to be a teacher? Plus there's recess.
Which is so fun for them, but can be stressful when you're the one that has to, like, enforce the rules.
You're like, everybody play kind, play fair. This is where we learn on the
This
playground.
is supposed to be fun. Stop throwing sand at him.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone de-sand before they come back in. That's so true. I want to thank you from my heart for joining us today, Chelsea. I mean, think about it like this. Like, what inspiring words of wisdom do you have for our teacher candidates, our pre-service teachers, or anyone who's listening to this who wants to answer the call to the classroom?
I think what I really struggled with in the beginning, and I see a lot of, new teachers struggle with, is balance between work life and home life. And I mean, even veteran teachers, it's really, really easy to just get sucked in with all of the extra things that you can do, that you feel like you need to do. And I mean, it's a never ending to do list. So you just feel like, if you're like me, anyways, you feel like I'm going to take this home, I'm going to get this done. So it's really been a challenge for me to learn how to balance that and to leave work at work, especially when you love those people so much. You love those little legends and you just want to, I mean, I carry them in my heart all day long. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about one of them in some capacity. But yeah, just learning how to have that balance between your life outside of work and your work life.
Loving these little legends. That's why Chelsie Arrants is our feature teacher. I love that. I love that so much. Like I said in the opening of this episode, I love that you share your classroom triumphs with me. Loving these little legends. Let that stick with you throughout your day. Thank you so much, Chelsea, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, about those challenges, a special note to our future teachers. Start your why we do this file. My file is filled with handwritten letters from my students, heartfelt artwork, and photos. I keep this file and refer to it on my hard days, and every time, it brings my heart back to that calling I felt when I ventured into the classroom. If you feel this calling or know someone who would be an inspiration to young people, then share this podcast with them today. This is your host, Mercedes Musto. Join me again on FTCE Seminar, a Teacher Certification Podcast. This podcast was recorded in Mercedes Musto Podcast Studios here in Pensacola, Florida, because we have taken FTCE Seminar on the road for our feature teacher series. This podcast is listener supported. Contributions can be made via the listener support link on Spotify, or you can buy me a coffee on ftceseminar.com.